Hi everybody, it's me Willow and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm here with another movie review for all of you guys. Today it is Yorgos Lanthimos' new film Bugonia. I went and saw this in theaters today and I went in completely blind, and I'm so glad I did because I had such an amazing time. Like, my expectations were definitely blown out of the water. If I'm being honest, I haven't seen all of Yorgos's films, but the ones that I have seen, I haven't been the biggest fan of them. I do appreciate his craftsmanship and his originality. He always goes for like a bold, grand idea, but they don't usually click with me. So I've seen Sacred Deer and I've seen Poor Things. So I haven't seen like a lot of his filmography because this is his 10th film. And I guess like The Favorite and Lobster are two other really big films, and Dogtooth, I have not seen those, but I'm not the biggest fan of Killing of the Sacred Deer and Poor Things, but Begonia is right up my alley and I really do enjoy it. I think the performances from Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone are just killer in this one. They really do knock it out of the park. Love seeing them come back together after Kinds of Kindness, and it's really great to see them doing some of their best work. I've been following both of them for like 10 years as their career has been, growing and expanding. And this is just like really top notch work from both of them. There is one scene near the end of the film between the two of them in the basement of Jesse Plemons' character's home. And it's just the two of them, and it is so tense, but just so artfully crafted from Yorgos. But the power of Emma and Jesse, them playing off one another, it is really incredible. This is definitely one of my favorite films I've seen from 2025 so far, and I was not expecting that, like I said. So let's dive into this movie. Basically, it is kind of like this conspiracy, climate change, medical, I don't really know how to describe it because it's a bunch of different societal underlining tones. So like we have this conspiracy theory duo of Teddy and Dawn, played by Jesse Plemons, and Aidan DeBellis. He is so fantastic in this film. I think this is his first feature film. So congratulations to Aidan because he really does kill it with his role. He kind of has more limited speaking role, but the times that he is on screen, even if he's not speaking, he really does grab attention from the camera. So love this cast. It's fairly small, but we have some really big standouts. Stavros Halkis as the former babysitter to Teddy and the town sheriff is also a very interesting character. Adds like another layer of this like social commentary of how Teddy has ended up into the person he is, this conspiracy theorist who lives alone on the outskirts of town and is really influencing this innocent individual in his life, his cousin, Dawn. It's pretty apparent that Dawn is maybe on the spectrum, neurodivergent, and is very influenced by his cousin because he has such a strong familial bond with his cousin, and he says that he doesn't feel like he has anything left, and it's very obvious from the beginning of the film that Dawn feels like an outsider and fully trusts his cousin and just wants to make his cousin happy because they've both have lost so much in their lives. And as the story unfolds, we realize that Teddy's mother has been sick and has also dealt with her own mental illness. And all of this kind of plays in with Emma Stone's character's company. Michelle Fuller is one of Forbes' like youngest, billionaires. She's a huge entrepreneur and she is a CEO of a company that I guess is kind of similar to like Amazon. I feel like it's not entirely Amazon because it also has more of like a medical side to it, but it has like a packaging and distributing side as well, kind of like the warehouses of Amazon. So it's very interesting to see like the dynamic, and as the story, unfolds, all the collateral that has happened over the years and how it all ties in with Michelle Fuller. And this is kind of why Teddy has like snapped and fallen into this conspiracy theory side of the web of believing that Michelle is this Andromedon alien who has come to Earth to weed out the humans. So it's a very, very interesting and complex story. I feel like when I just spit all that out, it makes zero sense. But when you're watching it and you start to hear a little bit more of Teddy's reasoning, and you learn a little bit more about his mother and what's happened to him, and how Michelle plays a big role in it. You kind of go, okay, Teddy is definitely off his rockers, but he does have a point here. So I really do love the conversation of, I do think this is an elevated story of like Eat the Rich, because we have like these conspiracists who are kidnapping the CEO, and like it's also having an added layer onto it because instead of kidnapping the CEO because they want like ransom, it's because they think she's an alien who's here to end Earth. And Teddy wants to be the hero. He wants to save the planet. And they have like the allegory of the bees and how they have like the queen. And they have this really great conversation at the dinner table midway through the film where Teddy asks Michelle, okay, why do you admire the bees so much? Like, I admire the bees for so many different ways. And she kind of explains that she loves their work ethic and how they are always there to strive and there's nothing there to push them back, and they just want to serve their queen. And very interesting perspective, because when you're watching it and thinking of her as a CEO, and we have the scene in the beginning where she's telling all of her staff, oh, it's okay, you can go home at 5:30 p.m. I want you to go home with your family. I don't want any more incidences. So it's very apparent that she has a hostile work environment, and she really does push all of her employees to the brink of injury. We also have like a conversation with Teddy, and it's revealed that he works at Michelle's company in like the delivery part, and he's talking with one of his coworkers who was injured by one of the equipment, but she's too afraid to speak up because she's afraid of repercussions happening to her. So she just kind of like wants to let it be, even though it's very obvious she's dealing with an injury and chronic pain from working on the job. So very, very interesting with all these different dynamics and like class consciousness, and kind of dissecting what, capitalism and these 1% can do to the workforce, and the allegory of the bees kind of just driving them insane in this harmonious like vibration where they want to strive for nothing but getting the pollen and making the queen happy. So very, very interesting. I love those conversations. I think it's so well written, and again, very well acted from our cast. I think it's phenomenal. Really big fan of this movie. We do have a bit of a like big twist near the end of the film, and if I'm being honest, I was kind of like taken aback by it. I was not expecting the film to fully go there and just like dive into this like kind of surrealist nature, I I thought it was completely grounded in reality, and the film is not. So I'm excited for a rewatch now that I know this reveal. And like I said, like you really should go in blind and not know what's gonna happen in the film. I didn't, and I think I was able to enjoy it at, the peak of what it should have been because I had nothing spoiled for me. So make sure you go and see it as soon as possible because that ending, like, I really do want to watch it again so I can kind of watch the rest of the film and pick up some different notes of the ending, like what's revealed in the end, and do a rewatch and see, okay, I definitely understand the choices certain actors are making and the reasons why. Because before, going in blind, I was thinking a completely different perspective of both Teddy and Michelle's character. And by the end, it's completely flipped. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like the gaslighting that happens in this film is flippin' insane. But I really am impressed by it. I don't think it's going to be a big awards player. I think specifically with the ending, kind of maybe is a little bit too much. I feel like it can be kind of similar to like The Substance, where The Substance was grounded in reality for a good portion of the film, though it had, some of the sci-fi horror elements, but then that like last like 20-30 minutes, a lot of like the older voters just they could not get behind the film and like turned it off or like walked away. And I feel like that could be like something similar that could happen, even though as I've been sitting, I kind of like the ending more. The first time I watched it, I was like, okay, this is not what I thought. Like I said, I thought it was going to be grounded more in reality. I thought we were going to have a different outcome. But I'm starting to garner more appreciation for the ending because I really do think it's trying to say something. And like I said, it's a little bit more elevated on this eat the rich and like climate change narrative, natural disaster type thing. Like I said, it really does cover a lot of different areas in film and different genres and social commentaries. And I think it does it really well. Like, I would compare maybe Mickey 17. I really did enjoy that film, but it had so many elements and it felt a bit too much and a little bit overboard. Whereas this one, I think they're about the same length. Mickey 17 might be a little bit longer than Begonia, but for the entire duration of the 2 hours, I did not feel like it dragged. It really kept me engaged, and I felt like every plot line that was kind of brought up was fulfilled by the end. I compared to like Mickey 17, which both have a kind of a supernatural and climate change analogy going on. So very interesting. I know some people haven't been the biggest fan, but I have been hearing lots of positive praise for Begonia. So I'd be interested in what your opinions is. So let me know in the comments down below. I do think Emma Stone is the standout in my opinion. I think she is so terrific. I think she has some really great monologues. Like I mentioned, there's this one scene between her and Jesse in the basement completely by themselves, and Emma gives this beautiful monologue with such power and just takes complete control over the situation. And I love like what she does and how it ends up with the like, oh, I can just picture it now, like how the two of them end the film together. It's just so like I was not expecting it, and it's kind of gory, but like done so perfectly. I really do think Yorgos uses the gore and violence in this film with a lot of, I don't know, he's very tasteful at it. He doesn't try and overuse it. He uses it for a purpose, and I think he just does it so well. And man, Jesse Plemons is very like just phenomenal in this role, completely embodying Teddy and his delusions, but like okay, like I when you're sitting at like the bar and there's that conspiracy theory person who's the talk of the town, and they start saying things and you've had a couple drinks with them and you're like, okay, I think I understand where you're coming from now. Like, that's where I end up with Teddy by the end of this film. And with the reveal, you're just like, oh, okay, so I see where you're coming from. The gaslighting, really making the audience think he's this type of person when he's like he is, but there's much more to him than what meets the eye. So I just love this transformative role for Jesse. I think this is terrific. Similar to like his Civil War role last year, which was much smaller, but so terrifying. He really goes there in this role as Teddy as well. So terrific. Again, I'd love to shout out Aiden and Stavros as well. They do terrific work in this film too. Love to see them. Great ensemble cast. We also have Alicia Silverstone, even though she's in a very, very small role. And I didn't even realize it was her until I had to look at the cast listing at the end, and I was like, oh, that's her. Like, I didn't even click in that was her. So interesting to see her. I really do love the production design as well. I think it's fantastic. I love Michelle's house and the different like dynamics of it, and like the yard and the driveway and the area of where she's kidnapped is just so well choreographed. Her, the office is so like all the glass, so modern, very CEO, like modern capitalist, like let's like we want everybody to like see us, like so like maybe you can grasp us, but we're just like that unattainable. That's what I get from like those glass apartments and offices. And like there's this like building downtown Toronto, it's like the BMO bank, and it's all glass and it's like the office, and I'm like, what if you can just like see people's confidential information? So that's what I'm feeling like with this office. And then of course the design of Teddy and Dom's house, to the dining room table, to the basement with the bed and all the different chains, and then the big reveal of the secret, room and what's in there. So fantastic. Such a great film. I really do love like the grain and the filter that's used too. Kind of like a yellowy, warm filter. Really do love it. Kind of plays in with like the bees, super high saturation, great coloring, really, really fantastic. I think the composer, Jerskin Fendrix, his music, soundtrack was so bold and just amazing. Really elevated the film. Love the different like crashes and like sympathy pieces that are used throughout. Really do emphasize the tension and like fear that's lingering, and you like don't know what's going to happen. You're waiting for like Chekhov's gun to go off. So fantastic. Really do love the soundtrack. Great composition. I just really do love this film overall. I would definitely highly recommend it. If you guys are kind of teetering on whether you should see Bugonia or not, you should definitely go see it. This one is so much fun. I had a great time with it. And yeah, if you guys got to see it, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down below. Let me know. And while you're at it, hit the subscribe button and post notification button so you don't miss out on any of my videos. I'm trying to post a couple times a week, get more content out related to movies and pop culture. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. Hit the like button as well if you enjoyed my review. All of your guys' engagement really helps to push me out into the algorithm and help to grow my cinema loving community. So thank you guys so much for following along and watching my review. I have lots more reviews coming out this week. So like I said, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss them. Also, check me out on all of my other social media platforms. You can find me on Letterboxd, The Awards Expert, and you can also find me on TikTok, all of them Willow D. Steele. So make sure you guys go give me a follow on those social medias as well. So thank you guys so much for giving me a watch, and like I said, growing my cinema community. I love having all these like-minded people here and having this conversation with you guys. So thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.